Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today is Sunday, October 27th.
I like purple, Ivan. You're
Yeah,
looking good. It's a good color for you.
yeah, I think so too.
You got a date tonight?
Kind of.
Ooh, yeah, I can tell with that shirt. Usually it's just very casual, a little polo shirt. But today it's the purple shirt. All right, let's get to look at that smile too. Ivan. Okay, you be careful. It's a rough world out there, Ivan. You just remember what I told you about girls.
Of course. All right. We're looking at the chart of the S&P 500. As you can see, after a couple months of consolidation, it seems like it wants to break out. And the QQQ is looking similar. I mean, of course, small caps are kind of behind and trying to catch up, but definitely large caps, mega caps are leading.
Yeah, I
And
mean, if we go around the world, Ivan, it's J.P. Morgan, Apple, Microsoft, Walmart. I mean, they're just crushing it for the market. Costco, the big caps, the big cap. I wouldn't say they're growing that fast, but I mean, the indexes are market cap weighted, and that's been good for the S&P.
well, if they actually manage to break out, we might see small caps catching up, and we might see finally the small caps outperforming. And judging by the recent market reactions to earnings, I think a breakout is very likely because the market reactions can be mostly positive.
Give me a couple
Especially,
examples. I know you mentioned Amazon, like it had sold off after their earnings, and
oh yes, I mean, take a look at Amazon. They missed estimates, by a quite big margin, and they basically closed that gap the next day. Like they almost closed it. I mean, that's a very positive. That's a very
but
bullish.
still, but Ivan, I mean, 36 relative strength. I guess if it closes below that gap down, they're in a little bit of trouble. But on the opposite side, Walmart's crushing, right? Walmart's at an all-time high.
Yeah, that's the new line in the sand here for Amazon, like
Yeah.
700 maybe. And of course, on Friday we learned that Microsoft beat Amazon for a 10 billion government contract.
Yeah. I have a different look at that. It was a joke. I saw some VCs joking that the $250 million Washington Post acquisition now really was a $10.2 billion acquisition. But I mean, I don't know. When you're a company the size of Amazon, $1 billion a year for 10 years and dealing with the government, it may not, they might have, what do you call it? They may have, like Larry David, they might have stuck Microsoft with that contract. I don't know. With this government, I don't know. They might have, but look at Microsoft's report. Did they report, or are they reporting this week?
I think oh no, they already reported, actually. It says on 10/23.
Okay.
A small market surprise. They continue to grow very steadily. I mean, 14% sales growth, 21% earnings growth.
Yeah.
Just a big contract. So they'll open at new all-time highs tomorrow.
The sexy companies, it's continue to lag. There's a rotation out of enterprise. Is that still going on, Evan?
Kind of. I mean, they outperformed for so long, and they outperformed by such a big margin that it's kind of normal to see some form of mean reversion. I mean, so many of those enterprise software stocks went up 300, 500, even in some cases 1,000% in the past 2 years.
Let's take a look at the weekly. I mean, to be honest, it's holding very well. Like when the biotechs had that run in 2014, I mean, they're still digesting that gain. So I wouldn't be surprised even for a year and a half, if the market stays strong, these stocks won't crap out completely, but they may not go anywhere for 2-3 years. And that would be, fine marking time, because the biotechs, Ivan, are starting to break out after all those years.
Some of them, yes, definitely. Let's take a look at the daily time frame of the XBI, which is the biotech ETF. It's still below its 200-day, but it's kind of building a new base here.
No, but there's some stocks breaking out in the index. But
definitely some individual biotech stocks acting strong, breaking out.
You mentioned this last week, right, Resta?
Yeah. I mentioned it last week. Last week, as you remember, we talked about to pay attention to huge volume breakouts, because when you see a huge volume, look at this, 10 times its average daily volume, there is usually immediate continuation.
Yeah, you got that was a nice one.
So pay attention to those huge volume breakouts, especially in biotechs. We're in the midst of earnings season. We have quite a few big reports coming up this week. Apple.
Yeah, I was going to talk about Apple. They just are executing on every cylinder. I mean, retail. I mean, the AirPods. I lost my case, $70. Boom, no second thoughts. The love my camera, the iCamera, the iPhone 11 camera. Love. I mean, they're just killing it. The interesting thing, Ivan, is social networks. Snapchat hammered, Twitter.
Oh, definitely. Twitter has been the black sheep.
I think Twitter, as long as, and then we stopped out at 40, and that was my line in the sand. And it was just, you got to be careful in this tape. It wasn't, there's just no growth, right? Like, no one trusts this company anymore. What I was saying this weekend is they couldn't have a better environment for their model, right? Politics, no rules. I got the president 20 times a day on the platform. So they basically are, I think this stock may revisit the lows. I just think this is as good as it was going to get. And they just can't get their act together. Facebook's the only winner in this space. And even Facebook has got massive pressure from, TikTok, the government, tons of small social networks, group social networks are that you're never going to hear about, are nipping away, combined with Snapchat and Twitter. I mean, so I think social networks have seen their best days. I think and even if we look at Slack, which is kind of a social network for enterprise, work. I mean, just wow, that hasn't had an uptick since its IPO. I mean, this was a company that, people live on this product, Ivan. So obviously it's just a valuation thing, or the fact that they didn't, do a regular IPO and everybody's punishing them and not making a market in it. But there's just constant selling. What's the valuation is?
11 billion right now. Still very, very rich valuation.
An incredibly rich valuation for a company that's losing money. So I don't know. I see the index as an all-time high. I own my 8 to 80 stocks. I'm struggling to put more money to work because I just don't see growth names that I like. So why don't you tour me through some stuff on the list, Ivan, that looks interesting to you?
Yeah, before we go to the list, we can talk about semiconductors real quick.
Sure.
It seems like the semiconductor index might be among the new leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this breakout to new all-time highs.
We've been talking about it. That was them and Apple were the ones holding out.
Yeah, and we're starting to see quite a few stocks.
Yeah, I own this. We've owned this a while. Teradyne, it broke out. Another good earnings. It's kind of a play on robotics, but and NVIDIA broke out, which kind of makes sense now that you see Bitcoin rallying 3,000 points at $3,000 this weekend.
Yeah, NVIDIA built a new base, and it just broke out.
Yeah, I think crypto is going to surprise people in the next year. Government's still printing money, interest rates rising. So you see Google there. Google reports. Google reports earnings. I don't know.
I think, and it looks amazing as of right now before the earnings, but that doesn't mean that we know how the market will react.
Amazing many times. It looked amazing in May of this year too, and then dropped 200 and almost 300 points after earnings. So they're not, there's mark time for a while. I don't know what surprises they could have. Obviously, I'm long because of the product, YouTube, Android, Maps. There's no reason for me not to be long, but obviously people have done better with other stocks. I think, as usual, they have so many levers to pull out, and they may surprise, but I'm not playing earnings. Okay, next up.
After what we saw with Amazon, like, I mean, I'm bullish on Google.
Good point. Good point. Good point.
Because if Amazon can recover from after those estimates, I think Google can do the same. So Lululemon is also setting up new all-time highs again.
Yeah, been long forever. I haven't been adding because it's just, but they just have no competition, and they can just open so many more stores. How many stores do they have? Let me just look. Only 400 stores. This could be easily 1,000 stores. These are small footprints.
Stores always crowded, and basically the Apple of apparel. And so,
well, Fashology, Ivan. Nike's sold off because of the CEO change, which is really shocking. I'm glad I sold a little into the run. I think here in the mid 80s, though, it would be overdone based on how well they're doing. But Lulu's the leader in fashion. Apple's the leader in technology and fashion.
Yeah, and Lulu is now entering. I mean, they're selling hair masks. They're trying to enter other verticals.
No, it's over. They've nailed e-commerce. The brand matters to people still. People feel good about wearing Lulu. And they don't have to buy a lot of items. They know the product's going to change every 2-3 months, so they can buy a few things and go back. So they treat it like their closet. And but again, with Instagram, there's going to be so many companies nipping at their heels. So I wouldn't chase these stocks. But if you really love Lulu, you'll always get 10 or 15% pullbacks where you can buy it. Anything else? You see Bitcoin, Ivan. That was pretty interesting, huh?
Oh yeah, the volatility in Bitcoin has been insane, and
didn't see this one coming. I was a little nervous.
Yeah, it seems like it doesn't really take that much capital though to move it.
No, that's why you have to buy the dip.
The new line in the sand.
If you believe, that's why you shouldn't chase. You got to buy the dips.
Let's check out Bitcoin real quick. Let me just open a different platform here real quick. Crypto. So it's almost back to 10,000. Look at that false breakdown and then an immediate rally. I mean, 10,000 is looks like a technical resistance, but
yeah, I think this move is real. I think again, but I sold a little bit today, but I was buying it all the way down over the last few months. Again, I just think that the people that own it. So like you said, there's very little float, and nothing's changed fundamentally. It's great code. It's not going to zero. I don't know what the upside is, but at the same time, it's just great software, and it's global. So in an era where the governments continue to act weird and chaos is possible, the dips are getting bought. But that was technically, it sucked a lot. Don't you think it sucked a lot of people out there when it broke 8,000?
I'm not really sure that there are that many people who short Bitcoin. So it's most people own it on the long side.
Okay.
I'm not really sure that really caused like a huge short squeeze, but who knows?
Okay. All right. So let's go. And if we were to go back to the bank side, and I think that's, and even Germany kind of breaking out. So you've got JP Morgan breaking out. You've got, Germany kind of getting stronger.
I don't know. It's
oh, no. I had read that it was. That looks terrible. But that's EWG. That's kind of not the actual DAX.
Okay, let's take a quick look at the German futures real quick. So Eurostock DAX. Here we go. So this is just move this here quick. So let's take a look at the weekly. So they're back near multi-year highs.
Yeah, it's not bearish right there. So, when you got Germany and the UN, the S&P kind of near or at all-time highs, you got the NASDAQ without the go-go growth stocks, but FANG kind of holding in there. It's hard. I think you got to be patient. If you're negative, stay with your winners right now, because there's no reason to kind of sell out, and like I am, kind of just be careful. But there seems to be more good ideas right now than bad ideas. And that changed. Last week it was like Verizon and housing stocks. What did those do this week as people took on more risk?
It seems like the momentum in housing stocks is kind of starting to fizzle a little bit as money is starting to rotate into other more interesting and I assume higher growth ideas. But so far, definitely a lot.
Did Verizon follow through on that breakout?
No, they are basically basing. Here we go. So they reported earnings, no reaction. Basically, they're just consolidating near.
Yeah.
So
I think the market still wants to rotate back into growth. This is going to be a big week. Shopify, Twilio, Google, Apple, Facebook, they all report. They all report. So I anything can happen. I think queuing off, like you said, all you can queue off is Amazon's reaction. But
also Tesla definitely stood out as, it's considered a growth name. Kind of look at this huge breakout and then the huge squeeze the next day. This doesn't happen in a bearish market environment.
No, it's a great point. I mean, Tesla is definitely a risk-on kind of name, right? People were skeptical after WeWork, right? If Tesla was going to get run at, this would have been the time, and it did the exact opposite. So, there's so many bears on Tesla. I just kind of avoid it. But, listen, great product. People love the product. You argue with people fanatics that love the product. It's crazy to bet against people that just will buy that product. So, but in terms of, you're right, Ivan, in terms of risk on, people are chasing up Tesla 80 points. That's not bearish. WeWork was bearish action, but in the end, what was bullish about WeWork is Massa and SoftBank took the loss themselves, right? Like they just ate, 9-10 billion and funded it themselves. They passed it on to the Saudis and their LPs, and that is a bullish sign, right? They're not sticking it on retail, so they just stuck it in their back pocket, and the market kind of, once that deal got announced, the market really did have a move, and that's a big swing. That even though it's private markets, that WeWork is a big overhang.
I agree, and WeWork still has some pretty valuable assets like Meetup.com, and others. So I'm sure
they're trying to sell them, but yeah, they're trying to sell them. And those are only in the hundreds of millions, not in the 10 or 20 billion. And then Ivan, on interest rates, they've kind of stopped crashing and now kind of settled and start moving up.
Yeah, there is a chance that interest rates might perk up. I mean, that's why financials have been outperforming.
Yeah, and the brokerages even stopped going down, even on the zero commission news. So they've all kind of regained their gaps. So I think that was interesting.
I'm still in huge downtrend. So
yeah, no, but I think the interest rates, yeah, those still look ugly. I think Schwab's then the only one that kind of recovered.
Let's see. Yeah. I mean, I still personally wouldn't touch it.
Oh, I wouldn't touch them, but it's just, the news was kind of the bottom. The zero commission news is kind of the bottom for now. So, anyways, there's a tour. I don't see names that I love on our list, Ivan, so I don't want to spend too much time on them. I mean, obviously, I own a lot.
There are always some interesting ideas, not too many of them. I mean, last week I was very surprised to see so many car dealers breaking out after strong earnings. And I think the only car dealer that hasn't reported earnings yet is Carvana, which is strictly online based.
Really?
And they're not looking that bad.
Yeah. I wonder why. I don't know. Maybe, don't know. Never been interested in that sector, but that's interesting. I mean, the S&P is it's just shocking to me that it's this strong. But in the low interest rate environment, in an easy environment, Fed cutting rates, I mean, the textbook is, people aren't going to sell stocks. They're just rotating.
Yeah, there is a Fed meeting this Wednesday, and
yeah,
let's see what they say. I don't think they'll they'll say anything different. And even if there is a sell-off on Wednesday to be a short-term one-day thing.
Yeah, I'm going to sit out the week. This is too much action for me, and we'll see some trends maybe emerge after this week. But if you are going to trade this week, be prepared. There's hundreds of S&P companies reporting. All right, have a great week, Ivan. I'll talk to you during the week. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Howard. Let's see, how do I stop this? All right.